So in this video, we're going to learn how to do a graphing type question. So let's go add a new question here. Let's just call it graphing sample question. And let's go allow use by all. And I'm going to change this to what's called a drawing type question. From there, we want to go, I like to select the writing questions help to give an idea, what we need here. And what they're telling us here is the only thing that's required is $answers equals, and we want kind of a little expression here. They give us little hints for different things if you want to have a dot versus a line, etc. But let's just do a simple equation. And so I'm going to just do here answers equals, and we're going to do x squared plus 2. And I'm going to write in the question text for the student, graph the equation, and I'm going to put y equals x squared plus 2 right here. Put answer box below it right there, and let's go see what that looks like here. Pretty simple as a line, x squared plus 2, but notice it's not really exactly what we want here. The default here doesn't have the quadratic we're looking for. We can graph a line or a dot, but this isn't actually what we're looking for. So we have to add some more parameters to that. So it depends on what you're looking for. So again, let's go to writing questions help. Let's go down to drawing. And we have to change some format here. And the main one we're looking for is 2 point. Okay, so I want $ 2 point here. So I'm going to just copy and paste that. Answer form 2 point. And this gives us the kind of standard 2 point type graphs. We have a line graph, a quadratic with a select, absolute value, circle, and a dot. So this here gives us the quadratic, and I believe it's from here, and that should be like right here. And notice how it's really allowing us to select every single pixel. We put it right there, and looks pretty great. So that's a very simple way to graph this, and we can make these different variables as well. So let's go change it around. Let's go here. Let's let the variable be $b equals. Let's do I like my r rand 1, 2, 3 by 1, and let's go change my answer to that variable b. So if I graph this, let's do a new version so it actually changes. Oh, common issue. Make sure you put the variable here in the question text for the student. There we go. Now we can see it's changing. We want to graph a quadratic, so I select that, and +1, like that. Pretty simple. Submit. And look, it said it was wrong. Well, what happened? Notice here I actually just missed that point. It's a little off. So if I do it again, I have to be right on the value and move up. And we have it. Now that's a common issue that students have. They graph really quickly and it's just a little off, and the system, it's outside the parameters, it's a little off. So how can we fix that? Well, what we want to do is what's called snap to grid equals, and I'm going to label it as 1 for right now. So we do this. I do $snap to grid, and what that's going to do is when I select a point, it only allows me to do units of 1 for each one, and it's snapped there. All right, so let me clear my drawing. Let's do it. We have x squared plus 2, snap to grid, right there. And by units of 1, it snaps to the exact value, and that helps the students there. Now, if you want to make it down to 0.5, make it a little more difficult, you can do that. And now we're doing half values. See how it's moving around the half value. Okay, and you can do a third, sixth, whatever you want. I would just be careful for a problem like this. So if I was, let's say, 0.4, what happens there? Well, notice I'm doing it, but then it won't let me get the exact value I'm looking for. So the first one, let's say I'm going here, and then I want to go the next one and see how it's a little off. It won't go on the actual value because we're snapping to every 0.4 units. And so you want to make sure whatever you're choosing, it snaps evenly to the value that the students need. Okay, so that's how you do a basic graph here. There's other things that you can change. So as we go through, the writing questions helps us here. I selected the drawing type, and we can add different types here. So if we want to have 2-point, we want a line, a parabola, you can do that next to it with commas. You also can do rays as options, cubics, absolute values, circles. You just add each one of those as a comma here afterwards. So if I want to say do trig, like that, just put trig in, and we can see trig is now the only option though. So that's kind of a weird thing is once you add trig, like the 2-point gives you the default of like the basics, but if you want other ones, you add trig, you then have to manually add, oh, I want line segment or a quadratic. But 2-point with the trig, go in here, etc., etc. You can, make that little graph, submit. Obviously, it's going to be incorrect. Now again, writing questions help. Let's go to drawing. One thing we want to do is change sometimes is the grid size. Okay, so yeah, here's the notes for snap to grid, spacing I talked about. Let's do the grid size. And notice here, the grid, I'll just copy and paste it, and then we'll edit that. So, and I'm going to change the snap to grid to 1 again. This gives us our x minimum value, so let's make that -10. If you want a 10 by 10, x max, +10. Y minimum, again, -10. Y max, +10. This is the scale, so we want to go by units of 1. Now the image width, this is the number of pixels. You want to play around with it. Let's just do 400 and 400 for the number of pixels for each one. And now I'm going to get rid of the trig here because we're just going to go back to what we were graphing before. And so now you can see we have a much larger graph here, which gives us more values. And we have, right here, we can do it. We have snap to grid, good to go. Graph right there. All right. So this is like your basic information for drawing questions. Again, helping here, question type drawing. You want to do drawing here, and then go down and you can kind of read if you want to do some more stuff, get more advanced. But this is just the basic options here for that type of graph.